Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. I sure am. My name is Moi Fung. This is my very first time here, so I hope that all of you who are watching who've never seen me before, if you can actually just cheer me on because it's always a little bit nerve-wracking. But here we are. Welcome. We are at the BBPA's Level Up Masterclass, where we discuss finance and funding. I have our president, Nadine Spencer, and Michael Pinnock, who will be speaking with us today about face and beads. So welcome everyone. I do encourage you just to use our chat. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to just leave it there. We will do our best to get to them, okay? I hope you guys are all doing well. So Nadine Spencer, our president, if you can just join me on screen, I'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Moi, welcome to the BBPA family. We welcome you with open arms and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Nadine Spencer, and as Moi says, the president of the BBPA. You know, one of the reasons why I joined the call, this session with Michael today, was just to talk through all the things that we're doing at the BBPA. I know there's a lot of questions around BAIDS, the program that we have, which that Michael's going to tell you more about, and of course, FACE with the Federation of African Canadian Economics. And we wanted this session for you to ask all the questions that you didn't get answered in the various sessions, all the questions that we see online, that please ask them. We're here to answer those questions as we work towards what's going to be a remarkable future for Black entrepreneurs. On this call, I just want to acknowledge our BBPA family who's on this session today. Frances Del Sol, Fran? She's waving. And we have our immediate past president, Pauline Christian, on. And I think that's all I see in the chat so far. But know, of course, that we're here to serve you, answer your questions, and you are all a part of this BBPA family as we look towards a promisable and growing future together. And now I turn back over to you, Moi.
Thank you so much for that, Nadine. It's such an honor and privilege, really, just to sit with you in this virtual space, really. But we do have, I want to speak with Michael, another fantastic individual with humor and just with so much knowledge. Michael, we welcome you. Thank you so much. I know you have a lot to share today, so let's hear what you have to say.
And thank you, Moya, for coming. And please feel comfortable to make whatever mistakes you want today. Today is your free day.
It's my free day. Thank you.
Yes, and we will care for you. We try to build a family here, and you know, nothing beats a trial than a failure.
Okay, well, I'll hold
ensure
you to that.
that you don't fail a second time. So, and welcome aboard. You know,
thank you so much.
Those who have been here for a while, they've been seeing a male face, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, Anton James have been with us and he's still with us. He's going to be alternating, but I'm certain, I am pleased to see you here, see a beautiful Black face.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Know that we do have the skill sets to do everything and anything we want to do.
Absolutely.
And to the family that has been with us, because this is a program we've been running for a while. I think this is our second or third cohort that we're doing right now. And we started the program earlier this year with what we call Art of Negotiation. And we're about midway the program. And so one of the things I'd like to say to folks, we tend to pivot midway to kind of open the field to say, listen, ask the questions, tell us some of the stuff you'd like us to do as we roll forward. So in the chat, you can also put in the chat today, what are some of the topics you'd like us to cover as we go forward? We want to hear from you, and we want to do the things that really make a fundamental difference in your life. We don't just want to sit as a BBP and believe that the things that we do are necessarily the things that you want us to do. We want to ensure that the things we do, we collectively agree that those are the things we should be doing. And we do that. The second part is, as the president mentioned, the face. And what we've done in BBP, we want to prepare businesses so when they go for these loans, they will be successful. And so we call it making them faceable, or we have the faceability program. So we want you to ask all the questions you have there between the president and myself. We will answer all the questions. I'm certain we have the answer for all the questions if you just put them in the chat and ask them today. And again, we'll spend some time on our own business advisory implementation development services we call BIDS. I sometimes confuse it with beads, and I get myself in trouble, but it's really beards. BIDS spelled with an S, and it means business advisory implementation development services. So I'm gonna pause a little to give you an opportunity to put in the chat programs you may want us to do going forward. And after that, I'll just open it for questions. I don't know if we need to give it another intro, my president, but I think we have been doing it for a little while now. We launched a program about 2.5 weeks ago, and we've got tremendous response. I don't think it surprised us. It's just that the currency of the response, we thought over time we may have the total response, but it's happening right now as we speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe Michael, I could just maybe give a little backgrounder to how we got here. So COVID happened, and then what we experienced shortly after the murder of George Floyd was what we call a racial pandemic. But even prior to that, at the BBPA, we recognize, and for the past 40 years, the reason why our organization exists is that we recognize there's an imbalance, there's an inequality when it comes to Black business owners and other business owners. One of the number one things is access, lack of access to capital, lack of access to resources, and of course, lack of access to networks. In May of last year, the BBPA did a survey, and we compared that survey with the Canadian Federation of Independent Business Association. And we recognized that Black businesses and mainstream businesses face a tremendous difference. There's a huge divide in terms of the response from the Black businesses versus the mainstream businesses. And just a few of them were, many of the mainstream businesses had at least minimum 6 months cash reserve going into longer funding sources that they had put aside. The Black businesses that we surveyed, I think a short of percentage of them, a low percentage of them having just 1 month cash reserve. So what that meant is that Black businesses were living literally from rent to rent, check to check, hand to mouth. And when COVID happened, and we recognized that a lot of the reasons why the Black businesses were not getting the various stimuluses that was available is that we weren't ready. As businesses, we weren't ready. Mm-hmm. Whether that being our taxes weren't filed, we didn't have a business account, our business wasn't registered, all of those things. And subsequently, even when the government adjusted the criteria for the stimuluses, a lot of the Black businesses still weren't ready. So hence the birth of our BATES program. We decided that what we at the BBPA were going to do was to make sure we handheld the businesses, help you with your income tax, help you with all of those things to get you into a state of readiness. And so, Michael will talk a little bit more about the BATES program, but in terms of the Federation of African Canadian Economics, the organization set up to adjudicate the loan program, the loans to Black businesses. So the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund will provide loans of up to $250,000 for businesses that are majority Black owned or entrepreneurs for their startups or existing for-profit small businesses, social enterprise, et cetera. But we have to be ready. And so what we want to do at the BBPA through the BATES program is ensure that, all the businesses that apply after they've gone through the process is that they're ready for the FACE loans. So any questions you have, ask it right here. I know there's not always a lot of time, we have an hour, but myself, the ED is also here. And of course, our treasurer will answer all of those questions.
Yes, thank you so much for that. Now, thanks, Nadine. No, certainly do take advantage of the chat. I think it's this is great. We're providing financial literacy and information and resources to get access to funding, which if you've been in business, which I've been for over 16 years, it's been a serious issue. So thank you, BBPA, for what you do. And please, let's not waste this information. The information is here. So please, let's not waste it. I do have one or two questions. It says, how can we connect with someone to guide us, I guess, moving forward from here?
Well, I'll take that question, my president, at the BBPA level. But first of all, let me just say welcome to the ED. I was remiss earlier not to mention it. Our ED keeps the center of the organization going. And also to our immediate past president, Pauline Christian. And later, I'm certain we'll allow her an opportunity to say a few words because there's a foundation in which we're building the current BBP. And it's from people like her that set that foundation why we can carry on with what we're doing. The organization has been around 39 years, and I've just been in there for 2 years. So, 37 years before there was someone, else there doing some stuff. In answer to the question though, my clear recommendation is go onto the bbpa.org and apply through the BATES program for whatever assistance you think you need. As we speak, we have boots on the ground. Almost 200 folks have already since we opened the upper, since we launched the program. We had a few before that, about 47 or so before that. But since we have our launch week and a half ago, we have had an addition, and it's grown by about 8 businesses per day. So whatever help you think you need, whatever help you think you need, just apply to the program. There are 48 questions we ask you to answer. Once you answer those questions, someone will get to you. We call those person assessors. They will actually call you back to set up an arrangement, a meeting to further flesh out what you want. And then whatever recommendations that will come to us, and we'll act on that, or we'll match you, or we'll pair you with the knowledge expert, the professional that will deliver that service. And it's no consideration to you. The BBP will pay the professional to do that. So all we ask is, someone mentioned in the chat, they need bookkeeping. Apply to BATES, tell them you need bookkeeping. Someone will get back to see you, see how many years you're behind. They will assign an accountant to you, and they will bring your books up to date.
Yeah, someone also commented, so in terms of my response to that question, I sit on the board of the Federation of African Canadian Economics. I'm the secretary. I think if you go on the FACE website, we are inundated at FACE. There's no doubt. There's many people. I think we have had over 10,000 applications or inquiries to the FACE site. So you can imagine it's highly optimized right now in terms of people asking questions. But if you go on the website, if you go on this social media, we are answering those questions live as much as we can. We do have a chat bot, but again, it's really inundated. There's an FAQ question, there's an FAQ page that answers all the questions that have come up that we imagine that would have been asked and that has been asked since the launch of the program. If you go there, all of those questions will be answered as well. I saw there was a question from Rose in the chat. Rose, if you've applied through FACE, that's fine. People don't necessarily have to do the BATES program to apply to FACE. However, we want to ensure the success of our applicants, and what we're going to do via the BATES program is ensure that all the checklists that FACE has stated, which is your business needs to be registered, you need to have a business plan, you need to have a financial statements. Those are the first 3 basic criteria that if you don't have that and it's proper, the BBPA will ensure and help you do that. So that's the first step. So you don't necessarily have to be a part of the BATES program to apply to FACE, but it's another way of ensuring that all your ducks are lined up, if you will.
That's actually quite amazing. So you actually do the hand holding, as you mentioned earlier, which is really amazing. Because what I do know is that most new businesses, it becomes a little bit overwhelming for them, not knowing where to go, who to ask. So it's so great that you have that hand holding available. We have some questions around bookkeeping.
Maya, before you ask that question, just want the folks to know too, that we call it a wraparound program. The intention is to work with you for at least 3 years going forward. So you're not just going to pop up, we'll give you a fish and send you home. We're going to ensure that for the next 3 years, you can fish for yourself, but we'll work with you. We'll wrap our arms around you and keep you for at least 3 years. So it's a continuing program once you come to us.
This is beautiful. It doesn't get any better than this. This is in my opinion. But we do have some questions regarding, as I said, regarding the accounting, bookkeeping. So what can they do if they need help with bookkeeping? What techniques can you suggest to keep track? Or do you have professionals? What it sounds like you have professionals that will help. And I think you answered that question earlier.
Well, let me reiterate though. The best way right now, given the numbers we're seeing, What we used to do at the BBP, people call in one-on-one and we'll have a discussion with them and kind of walk them around some things they need to do. But given the numbers that are coming and the numbers we anticipate to come, the best, most efficient way to do it is just go on the website and apply through the Bates program and let them know you need bookkeeping services. An assessor will reach out to you and they will agree with you, having had a discussion that you do need a bookkeeping, and then we'll assign an accountant to you to do the bookkeeping or to help you to get the bookkeeping organized and be able to run on its own going forward. So right. Some of the time they say bookkeeping and it's a general stuff, but we do go through an interview, we do go through a discussion to ensure that it's not just, because someone can mean bookkeeping that, you know what, my books are not up to date. It can also mean bookkeeping mean I've not filed a tax return in 15 years. And we have seen that already. Folks are running business, but it's run through another organization and they've never filed a return. And hence, as the president mentioned earlier, one of the challenges of the Black businesses why they weren't able to access a lot of the stimulus funding or the relief funding is that they didn't have, quote unquote, a business. They didn't have a business number. They weren't paying payroll taxes. They didn't file tax returns, that sort of stuff. So when somebody said bookkeeping, we talk to them and we kind of drill down to say, okay, this is what it means. But whatever it means, more, we will assist them with it. Whatever it means, we will assist them.
Excellent. So they're going to be, go ahead, Nadine.
Yeah, sorry, Moy. And I'm just wondering if maybe at this juncture, we have 56 people on the Zoom. Maybe, Michael, this is an opportunity for you to just talk a little bit more about, you know, Bates and what Bates is and what we do.
Okay, so let me do that more so that probably may minimize some of the questions.
Absolutely.
So Business Advisory Implementation Development Services, the acronym for, you know, the acronym is Bates. At its core, we want to assist small and mid-sized Black-owned business, whether you're practicing as a self-employed, sole proprietorship, you're doing it through a partnership, or you're doing it through a corporation. We want to help you, and we will meet you where you're at. Not where we think you ought to be, but where you're at. So some folks they have an idea and they want to convert it into a business. We will work with that. They have a current business and they want to sustain it. We will work with that. They have a business that is sustainable, but they want to grow that business. We also work with that. And finally, it's a growing business and they want to scale up. They want to move from, you know, a little 10 by 10 shop to a big factory. We will work with that. And so what we do is we sit down with these businesses and through an interview process, we together understand what is it they need. They agree what they need, we agree what they need. And then we match them with the knowledge expert and the professional that will work with them and the BBP to get them to where they want to be. And as I mentioned earlier, we will stay with them for 3 years. Or as, you know, but within 3 years, your business should really be turning around. That's kind of the general stuff. If you're running businesses after 3 years, it's not moving and you probably need to move into something else. Yeah. So you may lose a little the first year, you lose a little, but after 3 years, you should really be seeing the light in the tunnel. So we'll stick with them. And some folks don't believe, but you can check around right now about those folks who have actually spoken already. Because as I'm talking to you, we have boots on the ground. 200 persons have applied in the portal. We have assessed 80 already, and we have assigned about 30 to professionals. This is something the president keeps saying as a BBP, we need to, you know, make a little more publicity about it so people actually know what's happening. But this is what is happening as I speak. People have been to us and they're looking bookkeeping and looking web designs, they're looking marketing support, business planning, all these stuff. And we have got the experts, real experts working it. We have lawyers working with us that's working on contracts. You have a lease agreement, there's a lawyer there to help you through that agreement to ensure that it's not onerous and stuff like that, and to guide you along the right part. So wherever you are, the Bates program is designed to meet you there and take it to where you want to be. And we in the BBPA pays the professional to do it. So you just need to bring your business, bring your ideas, be willing to work along with us to transform it from where it is to where you want it to be. And it's not for free. It's just that you will not be asked to pay for it. The BBP, because we have gone out and we have solicited funding from benefactors, corporate, from government levels, and we're then using that funding to pay these professionals to assist you in delivering your programs.
Yeah, and Mike, thank you for sharing that. I do want to share with our participants online, and as we continue to do the work and talk about the things that we do. I'm a business owner myself, and I remember there was a time in my business when my taxes weren't done, and I was embarrassed. It was an awful feeling, and I remember going into my bank manager, and he looked at my receivables list, and he saw all the companies that I had, and he said, "Your company is viable. You're doing great. You have a lot of great companies on your client list." But I wasn't formalizing my business in a serious way. And what we need to do as Black people, as Black business owners, is we need to look at our business and we need to be very serious about it. One of the things that we talk about at the BBPA, we want people in this program who are serious about their business, who's willing to take their business to the next level and do all of those steps. So if you have a business, you have to have a business plan. It's as simple as that. You have to have a financial statement. Those are key pieces, key pillars of any business that's going to be successful. And, I say that, we're not for everyone, but for who we are, the relationship works. And if you're a Black entrepreneur across this country and you're serious about your business, you're ready to take the walk, we're here to take that walk with you. But we only want you to come on this journey if you're serious. If you're not serious, then maybe you should wait and do something else. But we want these resources to be used to take our Black business community farther, so we can create sustainable growth. That's just not good for the entrepreneurs themselves, but it's good for Canada. It's good for the economy. And that's what we want to build.
Absolutely. It's good for legacy too. And you raised such an important point, Nadine. I do come across a lot of business owners. As I said, I've been in the field of entrepreneurship for over 16 years. And what I do realize is that we become I guess we fantasize about being our own boss and making our own schedules, but there's real work to being a business owner. And I think the ultimate test is saying, hey, put your business plan together. I encourage people to do their own business plans because it's your business. You need to know how the business is going to run. And of course, the coaching and all of that is necessary. But you're right. I think it's a great program that you have. And I hope for those of you who are listening in, really, that you truly can really glean this type of insight and understand that it's truly a gem. It's a gold mine, really. You're offering services that are not free, but they don't have to pay for it. This is absolutely amazing. So thank you once again for what you do. I do have a gentleman by the name of, I hope I'm pronouncing it properly. It says Labo Social. Your hand has been up for a while. Is that by accident or did you have a question? You're still
Yes, up. I do have a question. Well, that's one of my groups to which I belong. My name is Lenzi Karibaza, by the way. I really appreciate being around you guys, really. I was working with this friend who is the Procurement Canada who told me about this program, and I've read pretty much everything about the space for the FAQ section, which is already interesting. Now, what I'm interested in right now is about the refund conditions and rates. If this is something that's interest-free or something, really about knowing about that, what difference it makes going through this phase process compared to when I could just use the regular bank process and so on. What more advantage do I gain here in terms of the refund conditions and rates?
You guys
this is the loan, right?
My president, you want to go? I mean, I can take the babes part and you take the face part if you want. But first of all, thanks for coming on the program and thanks for doing the research on our organization. I am not certain how long you've been in Canada and what has been your experience going to any of the traditional bank to get a loan. But I can tell you that the challenges that we have as Black folks is our very color is what sort of just put us aside. We can't get the loans. We did a survey amongst a bunch of folks like us the other day, and something like 95% of them didn't apply for a loan through the banking system because of what they heard, the fact that it was failure rate, the disapproval rate was so high. And the 5% that did apply didn't get it on the first go. It was multiple times. So one of the benefits of FACE, the fraternity, the Federation for African Canadian economics now, not a banking stuff. We're talking about more than just banking. But one of the benefits is not only did we in the Black community realize that we're starting at a big disadvantage, but the federal government also recognized that, and they decide to put together a pool of funds that is available to the Black community to kind of give us that handicap so we can go forward. So when you come to FACE, the probability and the possibility of you getting that loan is 100%, providing you put a business plan together, a business that makes sense. Your color will not be used as a negative, which is one of the challenges we have. So that is one of the reasons why it's better to come through our program than try to go to the traditional bank. But you can go there, because that is why we have banks. Banks are here to lend money, and they should lend money to people who will generate wealth for them. We have found out that they don't consider that sometimes. The fact that if every Black account that you do approve, it's a business that you lose. And they're now quickly recognizing that as we gather here and we do what we do. The second part of your question was coming through bids. We guarantee if you come through the bids program, you will get the loan, because we guarantee that you will have a business that is viable, not a hobby that you like to do on a weekend, but a business that will grow and employ people and have wealth to pass down to the next generation. And you will have satisfied the 3 minimum criteria. You have a business number, you have a business plan, and you have financial statements to show that you're serious with what you're doing. And those are just two of the main things. There are thousands of other little stuff that we can put in there, but that is two of the reasons why I would say you go through bids to FACE, or you go straight to FACE. And if you're looking for up to 250, now if you're looking far more than that, then I think we have to still talk about the traditional banks. But it's still good to come through bids, because we will still make your activity a business that you still stand a good chance of getting the loan at a traditional bank. Because remember what the banks are here for. There are a couple of things to look at. When they give you a loan, they want to ensure that the loan can be repaid. That is really all they're looking for. They will give anybody loans if they know it will be repaid with the interest. And therefore, they're looking to see what is the capacity of the business to support that loan. And so that is one of the services we provide. We can take you through this business plan to demonstrate that you do have the capacity to repay the loan and its interest over the stipulated time. And if you don't, we can provide proposals to ensure that when you're ready for that, you will go for the loan. So I think it's a win-win all over. And I hope that answers your question.
That is definitely, thank you very much, Michael. That's definitely something I wanted to hear, and I'm really excited. Do you happen to have a number, like in terms of the rates for refunding the loan?
I think it's 6%. That is what I hear. I think
it's 6%. However, there is a system. There's going to be a mechanism whereby if you pay the payments on time over a year, you will get 1% back. So it could work out to 5%. Michael, you did an excellent response to that question. The only thing I'd want to point out to our colleague here is that, and I'm just reading over the Prime Minister's announcement, is that when they made the announcement back in September of last year, it really was to address anti-Black racism that Black entrepreneurs experience in within getting access to financial capital. And as you know, the loan fund, the Black entrepreneurship program, there's 3 sectors to it. There's the loan fund, which is FACE is the body that's administering that. There's the ecosystem fund, which there's going to be partners all across the country that will be part of this programs that will be doing this wraparound program, and different provinces will have different solution within this ecosystem. And the ecosystem is really to provide programming to help Black businesses in addition to the loan fund. And then third is the knowledge hub. Again, if you can't measure it, what's the expression, Michael? It's not managed if it's not measured.
Yes, if it's not measured, it can't be managed.
It can't be managed.
It's not managed if it's not measured. And just to, to mention the 10,000, when we're talking to different levels of government and we mentioned to them, oh, we're looking at working with about 500 or so business, they thought we were aggressive. 500 business over 4 years, they thought we were aggressive. And in 2 weeks, we have 200 business there. And in less than a week, FACE have 10,000 applicants. But nobody had the data, and that is why they thought 500 was aggressive. So if it's not measured, it's not managed. And so that third part, as you mentioned, my president, the knowledge hub is to, there's a lot of studies done on the Black community, but nobody can tell you, where they are, where they went to school, is because they don't want to manage it, so it's not measured. But now, even I've learned the CRA, they've got special funding to ensure that they desegregate the information they're collecting, so that we can actually look at Stats Canada and know where people are and whether they went to school or not and what level, what business you're in. Because the more data we get, and just want to throw this in, my president, the application forms that go out, and specifically for the ones of beads, one of the questions back was why we ask all these intrusive questions. They're really not intrusive. When we gather together as Black folks, we want to use it also as a data gathering forum. We want to know how many female is here today, how many male is here today, what's the age group, what is their, the educational standard, etc. Because it's through that sort of detail and breaking down of the information that we can better serve the Black community. If
yeah, absolutely.
You can't serve them properly.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest areas too is that when a Black business fails, it would be interesting to find out why, what is the tools we need for sustainability and viability of that business. So the data is very, very important. So that's the third part to the Black entrepreneurship program. Now I see that our executive director, Francis, has a comment. Fran, go ahead with your comment.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to add to the young man, I actually had a discussion this morning with a Black business in the Northwest Territories. And the question was, what is the difference between going to the bank and the FACE loan fund? Well, you go to the bank and we've all discussed, they see you before you even open your mouth. But at the end of the day, as Michael said, if we help you get through that process and you aren't judged, and let's assume you want $250,000, the likelihood that you will be told, I think you can only afford to pay we can only afford to give you 100,000, because they don't see it through Black lens. They don't understand what you've put into the business and what your projection is. They don't see it because they're in the business to make money and to minimize risk. The loans officers who are now looking at you will look at the larger picture and see it through a Black lens, and your opportunity for that loan is enhanced simply because you've got people that look like you, that understand your story, that know where you've been and that know where you're going, are going to help you with moving forward. So I think we need to, one of the things we need to get on the table is a lot of people are concerned. What is the difference between going to the bank and going to FACE? Well, FACE is you. FACE knows your story. FACE represents you. And those nuances that are part of the systemic system of discrimination that inhibited us from getting the loans before are dismantled when you come through FACE.
I love that. I love that. So you're coming more so as a community as opposed to an individual, which is your strength in numbers. So thank you for that. Nadine, you have something to say?
Yeah, just one final point. One of the things I love about the FACE criteria is they look at character. you know, character. So Michael, I'm going to take your story. One of the characters that you rent a place for 20 years, you pay your landlord on time, you're never late, never short. Why shouldn't that be used as part of your borrowing criteria? You know, so we're looking, the thing about FACE is that we're looking at character as well, more so than just the beacon score. There's 5 different criterias. And I think to Francis's point is that for once we're finally looking at and accessing Black business owners in that through a cultural lens, not based on a lens that the institution has made for people in the banking system that was not shaped for us.
And I just want to repeat that story, my president, and do it slowly. When you do credit assessment, the mortgage you pay, the car loan you pay back, how you manage your credit cards, those are counted as positive or negative in your credit check. But you rent a house for 20 years. You're never late, you're never short. And nobody consider that if you're paying rent for $2,000 a month and you get a mortgage for $1,500 a month, you can in fact afford it. They tell you that your rent you have paid over 20 years has nothing to do as part of your credit score to enhance the ability for you to get the loan. So that is something else. When you walk in, you're seen as a customer, a human being that is here to borrow money to pay back, because that is the business we're in. Finally, I wanted to just remind folks here that even as we speak, when the BBPA writes a check, say, you know, Ma does something for us, and it's a $25,000 service, and we write $25,000 on a check and give it to her. When she go to the bank, not only she judges a Black person that shouldn't have a $25,000 check, but the very check itself is judged. How can a Black business and professional association have so much money to write 25,000? And that's all kinds of managers have to come and this and that. And some checks come back to us for we to double verify the checks, even though they look in the system and see that we are very good for the money. And the check is a legitimate check and it's going to a legitimate person with all the IDs and so on. So I just make the point that, you know, sometimes when we sit and we get a little comfortable and so on, we forget that racism, anti-Black racism is real and it's pervasive. And if you're not experienced, like people who work in that space every single day, you wouldn't see how they're subtly treated. The guy walking with a BBPA check and the guy said, I'm gonna lodge a check. I'm not gonna spend it now. I'm gonna lodge it. So you can have it for 15 business days and check it out. You had to leave the bank and come back to us, round robin, the president and myself to double endorse the stuff. And they still held the check. So I just say this, that these are some of the unwritten rules and benefits if you go through our system, as the ED eloquently explained. And this is what we know from history, and that is why we know this program is going to be very successful. We just want folks to come to the table and understand it's a business we're running and take it really, really serious.
Absolutely. This is beautiful. I think I'm absolutely loving all of what is being said today. I mean, we know we're dealing with systemic racism and we need a community to fight that. And even in terms of representation. So thank you so much for providing that support for us business owners in the community. I know a few other individuals have questions around being a new startup and not having the actual finances around, I suppose it would be the financial statements. Now, is that what the financial statement is about? Is it about your business finances or is it about your personal finances?
It's so here again, as I say, and I'm going to sound like a parrot in this case. We meet you where you're at. Come to us. Don't burst your brain thinking about all the variables. You apply to BEAT and you come to us and you say, this is an idea. This is a startup business I want to work with. They have some stuff they call pro forma statements. They have statements that are called projections. We have the financial expertise that will take you through all that. We can do a business plan for you on a brand new business. And we can do financials that will support that business plan on a brand new business. We can also register the business even before you start to generate any revenue. And we can take that to any bank and get a loan for startup. Because that is why they have loans for startup. That's exactly what it means. Startup, and in the free world, in the current system, there are things they call virgin loans and that kind of stuff, angel loans and all these things. They're all there to assist people with the startup. But our color is not getting that. So that is why FACE is so important. And you can start with FACE and end up with the bigger banks, because FACE right now is limited to $250,000, I think. But you may need $5 million to get your stuff really where you want it to be. But that $250 loan can get you in a position that can then better demonstrate that you can support a $5 million loan. And so when you go, and some of the banks are going to work with us. They start out at, I think, DBO or BDO, my president.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, one of those financial institutions and the credit unions. Alterna and another
Alterna
one.
and Van City and
City.
Business Development Bank Corporation will be
working with us.
The loans.
Right. So if you want bigger loans than that, but guess what? As the Bible says, for those who have given more responsibility is from them. So and you also talk about the guy who got 1 talent and hide it, and the guy who got 2 and 5 and increase it. So we start small, and then we demonstrate that we can manage big stuff. And then we go for the big stuff. So any which way you look at it, I think the program is useful for us as Black folks, and we should utilize it.
It's a win-win. It is absolutely beautiful. And I wish I had known about this before as well. I would have been advertising it all over. We do have someone asking if you need to be a member of the BBPA to register for BAIDS.
And the answer is no. You just need to be Black and need support. But we do encourage, as building a family, that it would be useful if you become a member. Yeah. We do encourage that, but it's not a prerequisite or a criteria to get assisted. And just to say to folks too, that the federal definition for Black-owned business is a 50% or more are Black folks, or self-identify. This is a term we have to say to folks. Be careful how we talk about the Black and so on. Someone self-identify as Black is Black. It's not for us to determine, what is Black, not for shades of Black. Person self-identify. So if you're part of a corporation, for example, and there are 5 board members on that board, and 3 of those board members self-identify as Black, they're considered Black for the purposes of we delivering the program. So even if the other 2 person is lily white, you apply to the program and you'll be accepted in the program and be treated as such. Just thought I'd show that in there. So, you have some corporation which is mixed board leadership and people are wondering whether or not they would qualify. As long as 50% or more self-identify as Black, we treat the corporation as Black owned.
No, thank you for that. That was very good. Thank you. So you don't need to be a member in order to apply.
Nope.
Now, I do have some other, and if I'm missing any questions, I don't know if Victoria is available, but if I'm missing any, please do point them out to me.
Yeah, there's a few more that's talking about the financial statement. I think one of the questions is that whether or not the person can use their own bookkeeper or their own accountant for the program, their own bookkeeper, it says.
Well, you come to us if you think you need help. If you're in a state where you have your own bookkeeper, you're doing the finances okay, then you really don't need our help. It's up to it. It's self-defined. If you've got a system and the system is serving you well, then you work with it.
Yeah.
But if you think it's not serving you well and you think you may need some help, then the BAIDS is here for you.
Yeah, and I do want to state again that remember, to apply for the FACE loans, you do not necessarily have to go through BAIDS. I want that to be very clear. right? You can go to FACE as the 10,000 people have, and they've applied directly. You can certainly do that. If you've got a bookkeeper that's maintaining your books and you've got the business plan, the financial statement, you can go to FACE directly and apply for your loan. The Bates program is here to help Black business owners who need that additional support. So they don't have the financial plan, they don't have the business plan. And it also offers other areas of services as well. Maybe, Michael, you can talk about all the other areas of services that Bates will be helping, assisting businesses.
Well, I suppose I could sit here for the rest of the evening to do that. So if I sit to say, come to us with whatever your needs are and we will satisfy it. You know, whether it's legal, it's emotional. I talked to a client the other day, we end up talking about emotional state. And I did say to the folks, we have connections in the Black space with health professionals that can help you. So come to us, you know, as Christ say, come to us as you are, and we'll make you a better man. So I don't want to enumerate all this stuff.
Michael? What about women? Just a better man? What about the women?
Well, the women are always good, so they're always godly, you know. So it's really the men that give the trouble. But no, come to us as a human being. Come, as we say, as the program say, we will meet you where you're at, not where we think you should be. So come to us, apply and come to us. And, you know, we have explained and trained the assessors and the program providers to be empathic, understand the person. The person is coming to you not as a business, but as a person that runs a business. And one of the things we're not looking for is people to be judged. You don't want you come there and someone says, oh, you're running a business for 20 years. How come you didn't file tax return? That's not our business. Our business is that you need help now, and we'll go back to 20 years and bring you up to date.
You know,
the
Michael.
CRA and the CRA don't want you to talk to, because courts and CRA don't like human beings talk to them. They don't like lawyers talk to judges, and accountants talk to the CRA. So you go there, you're not getting through. We will provide an accountant that will lobby on your behalf. And I'm telling you, in my professional life, people have come to me in worse state, and I've solved it. So I know it is doable. Just come to us and we will help you. I don't know if my ED can help me with anything else, but I don't want to enumerate the 5,000 different things we want to do.
No, I think you've wrapped it up. I think you've wrapped it up pretty well, Michael. But I want somebody asked the question about, or made some suggestions about topics for future topics. One which is branding and one which is insurance. So I wanted to plug our new program that's coming up, which is called the Business Off from the BBPA Academy. And those two topics, the business of branding, the business of insurance, are part of that cohort that we will be offering starting early July. So you'll hear more about it. You'll see more about it on the BBPA webpage, and you'll hear about it in our newsletter. But we will have the business of, we have about 14 different topics, PR, insurance, whatever you name it, we're going to be sharing that with you in the program called the Business Of.
And just to add to the ED, we're doing a lot of financial literacy program. All our programs that we do now, including BABES, has a financial literacy component, because the latest statistics, and it's not just from the Black community, but especially affecting the Black community, showed that businesses fail, small business in particular, 50% of them fail in a short time, not necessarily because of lack of capital and funding and that sort of stuff, but it's lack of business knowledge. And so all the programs we're running, the Boss Woman, this program, the Saturday program, the one you're coming on board with, the workshop, all of these programs, an essential part of it is understand the world you live in and the rules around the economics of the world you live in. Understand it. We just completed one on Saturday, 4 series of pure economics from professors at York University, active professors that you pay good money to go and sit in a class to get a first degree or second degree. They came and they did the economics, and they're now doing marketing. Now we're going to do accounting. These are fundamental programs that teach you the language of business and all those stuff. Because we know that through the education, we're 50% there. We just need to implement the rest.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Michael, and everyone else, Nadine and Francis. What is the turnaround time? What is the response time really when they apply to Bates? Does anyone have a response for that?
Yeah, we have a bottleneck right now, so it's going to seem a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
But once we normalize, we're looking at about two weeks turnaround time for these things.
2 weeks, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And that's extreme. That's the extreme hand. If
okay.
people work with us really fast and commit the time, because one of the challenges we're having as we speak is folks will give us numbers to call them or email address to link with them, and nobody's answering it, especially the phone. They give you a telephone number and you try it forever, no one is answering. So that is a challenge that we're having. So people have to give us daytime numbers and be prepared to answer it when we call. But we can turn around these things in a week, 2 weeks.
So that is for,
will take a little longer though. Some will depend on what they need.
So that is for Bates. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. That is for Bates, but what about FACE? Would you guys have any information regarding that?
Yeah, for FACE, we're just waiting. What I'm aware of is that of the 10,000, only a very small percentage is probably eligible in terms of business plan and things like that done. We want people to understand that when you've applied for the FACE loan, there's 3 basic criteria which must be met. So if you have not met that criteria, don't apply. The number 1 is your business must be registered. Number 2, you must present a financial statement. And number 3, you must present a business plan. That's non-negotiable. And so I think the challenge is that we've received a lot of forms with none of those things. So we have to read the information and we have to send those information in. And that's going to be, that's going to be part of the delay. But the ones, the very slight 1% of ones who are, who have all of those things in, it should be very quickly. I do not have a date, but the moment we have a date as to when those first applications will be turned around, we're going to announce it on the website. And listen, we're going to be doing a lot of this conversation at the BBPA because we recognize that people have specific questions that maybe if you can't get into, if you can't get response into this, whether it's at FACE because they're highly busy. I know our ED's been taking a lot of calls, even answering questions on BADES and FACE. We will put them on the website as fast as we get them. So we would like you to check there first. And then if you don't see your question answered, then call. All the questions in the chat here today, we still haven't been able to get through all of them, Moy, as you can see, but we will answer them. We will create a page on our website and we will have the responses there. A lot of them are sort of the same. When are we going to get the money? What are the criteria? All of that's been shaped, but we will put the questions on the website as we know them.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. I do want to, we have just a couple minutes left, but I do want to just address the question from Rose. If you have multiple businesses, maybe 2, what would you, can you still apply for the BADES? Well, BADES is your support. So can you come through BADES?
And we'll recommend that if they haven't done so, just apply for both of them at the same time in the system. So, when we talk, we just talk about the 2. You can do 2 separate applications.
Okay.
But that, and the president is going to say something. Let me hear the president first, and then I'll continue.
So Rose, one thing people will say is that at the BBPA, we're going to tell it to you straight, right? Anything we say, or I say, I'll take ownership of this, comes from a place of love and respect. And I will always share the gems that I've had from various mentors over the years. I remembered I was doing 2 businesses, and this man that I met, he says, Nadine, 1 bum cannot ride 2 horses. Ride 1 straight perfectly before you get another. So I'm not sure the nature of your business, but remember, we want resources for everybody, Rose. We want to be able to expand these resources. So if you have 2 businesses, unless they're complementary and they intersect and one complements the other, what I would suggest is you focus on building 1 solid foundation for 1 business before you move on to another.
May I answer that, Nadine?
Yes.
Okay, so what I have applied for FACE for is a business that I've been doing for a long time. The purpose for me applying to FACE is to get funding where the market is concerned, because that's my weakest link right now. Outside of that, there's not much more I can do in terms of building the business. The new business that I'm trying to do, I need that. It's pretty much a startup stage. So I'm in the process of research, needing to do a business plan. I've started that, but still need a lot more link in order to get that complete. But they do not have anything to do with the other, and one would not take away from the other.
Okay.
Well, my answer would have been, Rose, that you can apply for both of them, and they will be treated as, you know, separate businesses when they do the assessment. The challenge you face is that given the bottleneck we have now, one may come up tomorrow and the next one a month from now, because there's no guarantee. We're trying to clear the bottleneck really, really quick, but we've got 200 persons in the pipeline, and we're going through them diligently, and you'll understand it's a process. But my approach, let's see it, we'll talk to you. And I just want to say too, you know, the president said we are street talkers at the BBPA. We're not looking for hobbies. If somebody's comfortable just doing something in their kitchen for a handful of neighbors close to them, we will still have a discussion and we'll make a recommendation that, you know, unless you plan to scale up or whatever, this is not something we recommend funding because this is just a hobby you're doing. The other thing is actually a very negative word, and I'm not too certain how popular it is in Canada, but back home we call it a hustling. We're not into a hustling, we're into business. Business that you have a business number, you have a business plan, you have financials, you plan to pay your taxes if they fall due, etc., etc. That is where our headspace is at, because that is how we're going to make it as Black folks in this environment.
Thank you. And I have gone through a startup program before with the business that's established. So I've gone through some of the steps. The new business is really a new idea that I had for quite some time, and it's just now doing something about it. So I understand exactly what you're telling me, and I look forward to hearing from you.
And we do have experts that will help you to wrap your head around that new business and to see whether the concept can be converted into a real business and generate, you know, wealth for you and your family and the Black community.
That is absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's 3 o'clock now, and we still have some questions that are unanswered, but as the president mentioned, we will have a page on the website for that, okay, to address these questions that have not been answered. I'm just so loving the engagement. Thank you for everyone who's joined us today and have posed your questions. It shows that you are eager to learn more information. And I think that's where it first starts, to building legacy and really getting ahead as a community, is having that eagerness to learn. So thank you so much to everyone. Nadine, our president, and Michael, our treasurer, and our ED, Francis, thank you. You guys are absolutely amazing. So there you have it. This is like this is a holistic approach, right? This is coaching, mentorship, access to financing. It's love too. Michael mentioned about being in that safe space, not being judged, because we know as many of us Black individuals, we're afraid to go into the banks. We're afraid to even speak to each other about our financial situation. And you're saying, Michael, listen, come as you are. They'll accept you as you are. We're not going to judge you with anything. We're saying we want to help to build you up, because in building you up, we're building our community, you know? So thank you so much for what you do, BBPA. Thank you for everyone who's joined.
Before you jump, I just want to know if our past president would like to say something.
Pauline, yes, yeah. Pauline, are you still here, Pauline? I'd love to hear from you.
Of course I'm here. Let me tell you, since I left the BBPA, one of my proudest moments is right now. I am so overly impressed with the work that's being done. I remember when you know, I became the president of the BBPA, and we had the Heritage Room Awards, which we know is the most prestigious awards in Canada for Black people. And we had the National Scholarship. And, you know, those were 2 events. And then we thought, okay, the Black Business and Professional Association, if you look at the operative words, and I know the one, you know, the presidents and the leadership before had done a lot of work. And so we brought in the convention to say, okay, how can we bring in and engage our people on more on the business economic side? Mm-hmm. And when I see what the leaps and bounds that have been made since my time with the new president and having an ED and Michael, I call your name and I get the chills.
Can you hear me?
Right? Can you hear me?
Am I? Oh, there we go. There we go.
Can you hear
everyone? Me? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Who is that? Paul? Is Pauline not there anymore?
I muted Nadine. I muted Nadine. She wasn't aware.
Okay.
Go ahead, Pauline.
Sorry, Pauline. Can we pin Pauline? Because I'm not certain where she's at.
Did you hear me at all?
Yes,
we did. Go ahead, Pauline.
Continue.
Yeah, I'm just saying that with the team that we have on board now, with our ED, Fran, and Michael, and our president, and the way of taking our community, it's just unprecedented in such a short period of time. And it just shows collaboratively how we can make major strides as Black people. I am very proud of Black people. And when it comes on entrepreneurship, that's my heartbeat. Because I know how I have been fooled working for big corporations, and you'll be getting the big $175,000, $200,000, you name it, the salary. They'll give you all the salary that you need and make you feel good about yourself. But there's nothing that will make you feel more achieved than running your own business and giving back to your own community. And when you can look around and see Black people working together and not being crab in the barrel, and just I know most times, and thank you, Nadine and Michael and Fran. Like I know that sometimes we don't acknowledge the people who have gone before us, but I think that the big thing for us as Black people is to collaborate as one. And one of the key things that I also heard, either Nadine or both Nadine and Michael said today, they talked about if it can be measured, it can be managed. Mm-hmm. But for me, if it can be measured, it doesn't exist. And that's why Black people did not exist before. We were not a part of the census. We were not a part of this. We're not a part of that. So I like the fact that we are trying to collect data and create the characterization of Black leadership and Black entrepreneurship. Remember, guys, that in the biggest part of revenues within Canada comes from the small businessman. So we need to get in there and get a slice of the pie. So for the 5962 people that came on, I take my hat off to you, because you're some serious sisters and brothers. And don't get disappointed having the BBBA behind you. I know that, the president is an entrepreneur. So it's good when you have the ED. I know you work for Corporate Canada and you understand the whole business sense. And the treasurer, that's his life breath, is that. So you having the right people behind you for us to push the dial forward. Don't listen to what our brothers and sisters of another mother is telling us. Listen to these people, because they know where the grind is. And you know what, again, the last thing, I'm getting so passionate. As I tell you, this is one of my proudest moments, to see where the BBPA is going, and to be such a strong organization, taking care of our Black people. I am just, and again, get to the point with what Michael said about don't listen to what they tell you. What the BBPA is telling us is to understand the economics around the engine that moves Canada, right? And it's an understanding, and this has to be done in a small group discussion like here, having the heart-to-heart talk, knowing what makes it happen. You go out there to the banks. I have been there, done that. I've been a business person for the last 17 years. I don't even work into my business. And you know the reason why? Because I'm not moving the slave master from the white man to me, right? So I have to find a way of how I can get the job done. Employing people, we need to employ our people. We need to support the community. We can't want all the money that we provide for our business to be coming into our pockets. If we're not passing into somebody else's and we're not moving if we're moving it forward, then why do we exist? It can't be for greed. It is for impact and to make a difference in this country, because we are, don't let me tell you what we are, the best of the best ever on the planet. So I want to be careful with my language, but we are all that. And having this team here, this team is going for gold. And I want to give it up to all you that showed up today, because we are going for it and we're taking it back for all the struggles we have been through. We're taking it back, not tomorrow, but now. Thank you.
That's right. Amen to that, Pauline. Thank you. We'll just give a round of applause for her. Pauline, thank you. Love your energy. And that's what we need. We need that community support. We need to stand with each other, as she says. Wow, Pauline, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you once again. Now, let me just ask another question before we go. This recording, where can it be accessed, or can it be accessed?
Oh, yes, we post it on our YouTube channel.
Okay, so
we have our own YouTube, so you go BBPA, you'll see a bunch of all that we have done there.
Perfect. So for
just before we leave, Moy, everybody remember tonight, it's Tuesday. We've got the Boss Women program at 6. And tomorrow we've got Ask a Professional from 12 to noon. So we look forward to seeing you all there.
Yes, thank you so much for that, Francis. It has been an honor and pleasure just to be here to host for the very first time this beautiful program that you have here in educating us on funding and financing. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Nadine. Thank you, Francis, Pauline. You guys are truly amazing. Thank you for providing this holistic support for us Black entrepreneurs so that we can build each other and ultimately build and create that legacy. You guys have been amazing. For all of you who've attended, please do come back tomorrow. Go to bbpa.org. We want to hear from you. You've been amazing. Thank you for joining in the conversation. Thank you for your engagement. You guys are awesome. God bless you. I love you, and we'll see you again. Take care.
Thanks, Maya.
Bless you. Bless you.